plan, plan, plan. It is better to spend 3 months planning and then start developing than just to go directly into the development and 6 months later you're like, oh, we didn't think of that. So the planning is like the most important part. So as a solution architect here at Decode, I'm the one who translates business ideas into something that we can actually build. So I'm the person who will look at the requirements and see if they are technically feasible. This is the part of my day-to-day work, which is most usually done in the pre-sales part of the process. So I listen to the client ideas, I see what they need, and first I need to check if it is technically feasible. And if it is, then I will see how mature this idea is. If it is, we can sometimes really go directly to the design and development, but if it isn't, then we come to the other part of my work, which is product discovery. I am the technical solution behind all of these ideas in the product discovery. So in this process, I will help the client to create the feature list, to prioritize these features, to see what type of architecture we need to build, how will it work together, do we need to integrate with something, will that give us an advantage to go faster to the market. Of course, all the time I need to have in mind the budget of the client, if there is a set budget, and we need to create a solution that is sustainable, maintainable, and that is a long-term solution. If you bring a solution architect too late in the project, there are a few risks. The first is that you don't have the right architecture. The second, that you chose wrong third-party integrations. And the third, that you chose the wrong tech stack to begin with. So regarding the tech stack, in the MVP phase, for some applications, it really doesn't matter which tech stack you will choose. But you need to have in mind your future plans. So, for example, if you want in the future to include AI or some LLMs, regs, whatever, the best possible way is to go with Python for now. So, in the part of the third integrations, the third parties can be tricky because you really need to analyze their documentation really well. Their APIs sometimes support something, sometimes they don't. If you go with the wrong API integration, that means that in the future you will have to swap it with something else, and that means that you will have to refactor the code, the processes, sometimes the database, and so on. So that can really be tricky. And regarding the whole architecture, solution architecture part, sometimes if we do things, let's say, quick way, that can backfire later. So it is better to set up the solid foundation so that the application is sustainable, maintainable, and that you can scale it to the larger levels.
So actually you are the developer's best friend?
I hope so. I hope that I am. I try to solve some of their problems for them so they don't need to waste their time on it, so they can focus on what they really need to do. So at Decode, we are involved with various types of companies. We have few startups, of course, we have the middle-sized companies and the enterprise level ones. We are also a domain agnostic, so there are different types of businesses that we get involved with, like, I don't know, fintech, the medical part, the finance, and so on. So for the startups, we have a different approach. They will need more help from our side, more guidance from our side. For the middle-sized companies and for the enterprise-sized companies, they most usually have the CTO or someone technical on their side. But then we work together to build the best possible solution for them, because this is our domain. This is what we know how to do, and this is what we are best at. So our goal is to help the middle ones or the enterprise to be even better, and the startups to go to market ready and make an impact. So for a solution architect, it is important to have communication with the whole team. So with the sales to understand the business side and the client's wishes, and with the developers so that I can understand, okay, they will be actually the person who need to build this thing. I need to know what are their problems, maybe what they saw, like there was some problem in the past, let's not do it again. That is also a really good feedback. Regarding the QAs, how will they test it? Is it some, I don't know, some pitfall in this testing because of some third-party integration? So this experience from both the development team and the designers, the product owner, from everyone is something that's really valuable information for me, because when I'm designing the system, I need to have like looks on the application from all sides. The goal of the connection between the solution architect and developer is actually to help each other. I was developer once, so I know how it works. You will choose the faster and maybe a bit easier way for you to do it, but as a solution architect, I need to have in mind that business-related side and that client-related side, so that faster is not always better. And if I tell the developers, this is why we will do it this way, this is something that they will accept and they will get the bigger picture. So in the product discovery, my goal is to give the client best value for money. So the clients always come with some ideas and what they want to accomplish with this application. My job here is to make features out of these ideas. And with this set of features, I will most often choose some for the MVP. So MVP is a minimum viable product. That means that it will work great, but it won't have all the fancy features that you envisioned at the first place. For all bigger projects, we suggest this way of work because when you have phased approach to the development, it will be easier to go to market fast. So your time to market decreases, and also it will be easier to reduce the cost of the first part of the development. So in the feature prioritization, I always talk with the client and with, of course, other members of the team like product owner. What is the most important for them and what is the most important for the application? So some technical things we cannot skip and some we can push to the later phase. After feature prioritization, I always put up a technical solution proposal, which consists of integrations overview. So sometimes when clients need some features, we suggest going with the third-party integrations because we are not really here to reinvent the wheel where it is not needed. So if they need, for example, a payment gateway, we won't build it custom because that doesn't make sense. We will suggest the third-party integration, which is the best fit for them. And of course, I will put up the list of the functional and non-functional requirements, which will be part of my solution architecture. So the goal is to set up a solid foundation and the basis for the MVP, but also for the future phases when the application will start to grow, have much more users, and so on. And I also do the budgeting and timeline estimations. So for clients, most often it is really important to know what they can expect, how long this development will last, and how much money it will cost. Of course, in that process, I also evaluate what is the size of the team we need, which profile of the developers we need to involve, and so on.
You also choose the tech stack?
Yes, I also choose the tech stack. This decision is mostly based on the features and like what we actually need to do and how are we going to do it. Sometimes the tech stack can also be affected by budget or timeline. For example, we are building a mobile application. So the client wants an iOS solution and the Android solution. If we really have a short time to market or a small budget, we will probably suggest them to go with the cross-platform solution because that is actually building two-in-one. The cost of building one iOS and one Android application isn't the double, but it's almost the double if you go native comparing to the cross-platform. Yes, well, we do not recommend some tech stack because it is trendy and it is like wow thing now. We really need to compare how good foundation it is for the application we are building. Is it reliable enough? Some new technologies tend to fail after a year or two. So it is more like an educated decision than like, okay, this is trendy, let's try this because everyone is doing it. So the handover part is one of the most important parts when we are giving the solution to the developers. Why? This is the goal of the whole process. So we will spend few weeks designing it, building it, setting up the architecture and so on, and we will give it to the developers. But they weren't on these workshops. They don't know what we are talking about. So we need to give them the whole business idea, the whole ownership of this project, so they understand what they're building and why are they building it this way that we envisioned in the product discovery. The handover is pretty complex here in Decode, so we document during the product discovery literally everything. At the start, we always have the risks and assumptions that we are basing the discovery on. Sometimes they can change during the discovery, but this is something what we need to have in mind all the time. During these workshops, we always put together notes if there is something like super important for the client or for the application. And of course, when we hand over it to the developers, it's not just like, okay, this is the piece of paper, here you are, do it. No. So I lead the handovers with the rest of the product development team, and we will really take some time to explain to them the business side and the technical side so that they really know what they are doing. The idea is not only to explain them, okay, you need to build this. We want to give that ownership to them so they can lead the project on. Well, when explaining the trade-offs, I always first have in mind who I'm speaking with. Is it a business owner, so a person who is not technical, or is it some CTO with whom I can go deeper in the technical part? Just the most important goal is to give that person the sense of what you're saying and what is your thinking. Why do you think that? What do you recommend? In the end, the decision will be theirs, but they need to make an educated decision based on what you told them. This is actually based on the experience. I have seen hundreds and hundreds of applications with a lot of features. So when you see enough of them, you can already recognize the pattern where it will usually be the problem or what will usually be the risk. Most common, these are some uncommon features. Something that is not done often, or some third-party integrations, which can be a problem because it is not totally dependable on you. You depend on someone else.
And how do you solve them? What's the approach when you detect them?
Well, if you detect when you detect these risks, you need to have the mitigation plans. So, okay, we are aware that this can happen. We always hope that it won't happen, but if it does, we need to have the plan how to go over this risk and make this feature or application or whatever possible. Regarding the third-party integrations, most often it is like a good idea to deep dive into the documentation and to understand all the API endpoints, all the possibilities of the integration. But even then you have the risks because it is someone else's software. So the mitigation plan is the way to go. You always need to have plan B. So what every person who wants to build an application needs to know is that software development never ends. So when you're done, you're not done. You really need to put your effort into maintenance and making your application better. If you don't do the maintenance, there is a risk that you will be using some outdated libraries which can make your application vulnerable to the hackers and to various types of attacks. And of course, if you put that on the side too long, it will be really hard to update the whole code. So sometimes when clients come to us with 10 or more years old applications, the only solution we can give to them is, okay, we need to do it from scratch. Avoid it. Think about it on time, because if you do it continuously, it won't turn into a problem. And also, you really need to think that this putting more features in your application is something that will keep you on the market. So trends change. something that is super important today will be totally like everyone has it in 2 years. So this this part about keeping your application interesting to the users and of course usable. If this is like a business application, requirements change, laws change, so you really need to work on your product all the time. It is not one and done. So the final like a recommendation from me as a solution architect would be plan, plan, plan. It is better to spend 3 months planning and then start developing than just to go directly into the development and 6 months later you're like, oh, we didn't think of that. So the planning is like the most important part. If you are ready to invest 200, 300,000 euros into the application, do it. Take that 20,000, that's like 10% or less, and make a good plan so that you know what are you trying to build and how will you build it before you start building it. If you want to build a house, you won't just take a ton of bricks and start putting that on one on another and okay, I have a house. No, it will collapse on you. So you will pay some architecture guy to please create me a plan of the house. So if that is something that is normal for each and every one of us, please make it normal for the applications also.